Welcome to Beyond the Hipther's Huddle, the bi-weekly podcast that explores the latest trends in iGaming, tech, startups, AI, and beyond. Each episode brings expert insights, in-depth analysis, and a few hot takes along the way. From breakthrough innovations to business strategies that drive the industry forward, it's all here. Let's dive in.
Hi everyone, Zoltan here. We're back again with the Beyond the Hipther's Huddle. With me, as always, Mr. Daniel Gunba, the co-host of the show. Daniel? How are you?
Hi, everyone. I'm very good. And as always, happy to be here.
All right. So we have a guest in this episode. And this is something that we actually talked about in our earlier episode that we pitched and teased to you guys. We're going to talk about how people are advocating for billionaires out there. And I posted something on LinkedIn and I added that the best comment or one of the best, most appreciated comments will be invited on our show. So Floris, nice to have you here, guys. This is Floris Assis, who probably needs no introduction, but Floris, the floor is yours. You can say a few words about yourself, of course.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So fun to be back on. Zoltan, you were my first podcast that I recorded last year. I'm very happy to be back. So Floris Assis, where to start? Jesus, Dutch national, living in Spain, doing better world casinos and content marketing, and now also dipping my toe in AI. And very much in responsible gambling, business ethics, corporate social responsibility, ESG. That's really my thing. So when the topic of billionaires came up, really relates well to a book I'm reading now for the second time. It's called Libertarianism. And very fascinating topic. I don't even recall what my comment was. I need to pull it up here.
All right.
Right.
No worries. We'll look it up in the meantime. But yeah, guys, please let me know, who is your favorite billionaire?
Is there such a thing as a favorite billionaire?
Yes.
For someone, for sure.
For sure. Well, I don't know. First one that comes to mind is Ivan Choniard, founder of Patagonia, who famously 2 or 3 years ago gave all his shares of his company to a foundation that is involved in improving or fighting climate change. Yeah, I think he really stands out there. Not that I'm a huge expert on billionaires and I would know like the top 10 or something, but no, he comes to mind for me. What about you?
Right, Daniel?
Yeah, mine is quite, it might be a quite standard answer, but I would say, since I never thought who is my favorite billionaire specifically, I would say Elon Musk here. Just because he's like developing cool stuff. So.
And now he's one of the most hated billionaires. Yeah. This is actually something that I was talking about, because you know that before he joined the Trump train, Elon Musk was like quoted everywhere, and if you said something about Elon Musk, you were dumb. You know, like
Right.
The guy is like an extraterrestrial. He knows everything. He's like the best of the best, you know. But now that he's on the other side of the political sphere, he's like the most hated guy in the world. So the same people that were like, man, Elon Musk, cannot say anything about him, now are like, man, I don't like this guy. So what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, go for it, Floris. Go for it.
I must say, I was a fan of Elon Musk for a while. I mean, it's really awesome what he does with Tesla and SpaceX and AI and sticking stuff in people's brain. But no, when I became a bit aware of how he treats his employees and, that he's completely against labor unions and that he is, for the real tech nerds that want to be inspired and motivated and work in an environment where you can really improve and develop yourself, then maybe that's the right kind of guy. But no, I think it's a clear case example where money and power corrupts, and this it went to his head. I don't know. I don't know. I obviously don't know him personally, but I don't have the impression that he treats people humanely, and or that he has. I don't know, everything well lined up in his brain. I don't know. It would be great to have a conversation with him about stuff to see how he thinks about it. I don't know.
Daniel, what's your take on this?
Yeah, I mean, I just believe you can look at him from different angles. You know, like you can take a look at him as an entrepreneur or a businessman, politician, whoever. But we can't like say that there's no good things about Elon Musk. And in terms of, for example, tech guy, he did a lot. And as mentioned before, Tesla, Starlink, all those like chips in the brain. It's a revolution. But I believe, like, you know, there is no person on the planet who is like perfect and doing everything right. So what he's doing now in terms of like what we just say, like people start hating him, the same people who loved him. So yeah, I mean there are some mistakes definitely, and we can talk about them, and most probably I believe we will be on the same page. But at the same time, there's a lot of stuff which is like make him cool as a tech guy, as a businessman, or whoever. So it really depends how you look at the person, I believe.
Yeah.
Well,
So
what I would love to do. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Flipping the conversation. Let's not focus on the billionaires. Let's focus on the lovers and haters. Why do people do that in the first place?
Right.
And I think, well, just the example of like the people who first loved him and now hate him. Things are complicated, you know, and it's so easy to be in this whole society. Really got like it's all about being popular and first headlines and having a quick opinion about things. But life is messy and complicated. So I think this is already the first thing that I would like to address to people that have a very strong opinion about something. Like, apply some critical thinking and question yourself. Why do you think and believe the things that you do? Because I think a lot of issues are already on that.
Yeah, among these guys, these billionaires, one guy is definitely the one guy that you cannot say that everybody just loved and they flipped and now hate him. It's Mark Zuckerberg. They always hated that guy. So anything he says is like, oh, you have these stupid guidelines on Facebook, and that's it. So nobody cares about what he said.
They hated him, or they hated that Facebook is laggy?
I don't know. He's tied directly to the Facebook and Meta and everything, and he destroyed the virtual reality space,
right?
Because he did with the rebranding to Meta and the whole metaverse thing. Everybody hate the people who did not hate him from the virtual reality sphere started hating him then.
Yeah,
because
of course.
I came across an interesting article the other day about personal branding and why Mark Zuckerberg is the real example of how not to do it, because he went from one day to the next from a very nerdy image to all of a sudden these cool guys surfing and doing all these things and working out and doing, I don't know, whatever martial arts. And I don't know, that just wasn't it was too much directed, orchestrated. It didn't really feel like a natural evolution. And then I really think like, you know, I did once my thesis about identity and image management. And then I think like, that's I don't know, the people who did that didn't really think it through. I think you need to have a more careful evolution for it to look authentic.
Maybe he finally starts spending his money on himself, because he was developing Facebook in the slippers and he never cared how he looked like. And here, finally, you know, he tried Meta VR stuff and he realized that it's a big problem and it doesn't work. And he was like, okay, instead of trying new projects, I will surf now. So maybe this is something like that.
Yeah, the idea about this episode and my post came about, of course, when I saw people recently being like I told you, advocates. It's like, why do somehow these guys feel the need to defend their favorite billionaires? So this is my question for you.
Well, I want to ask you the same question. I think that's actually what I wrote in my comment.
Yeah.
I was hoping you had the question.
No, I don't have the answer to this. This is something very stupid. Daniel, do you have any opinion about this?
Yeah, look, I mean, as I mentioned, I think it's really important why you like the specific person. Like, for example, my good friend Hugo. If you will tell something bad about Elon Musk, he will take a sword and shield and will attack you straight away. And it's just because he like him as a specifically as a tech guy, and I'm sure he's not even following all those politics. But he loves his tech and stuff. So if you follow the guy for something specific, you will basically defend him because you have the same kind of vision, and you follow the ideas, and you want to have maybe even you're using keys like it's like about Apple. You're using their devices. There's always a beef between Android and Apple, and if you say something bad about Apple, people will like start attacking you as well, especially if you say something bad about Steve Jobs. Now that's it. I mean,
but nobody is saying shit when his company was taken away from him, right?
Yeah, of course. But I mean, look, they're giving you the same phone every year. Almost same design.
But you still buy it. I don't.
I'm the guy. Tell me something better about Apple. I mean, I'm ready. And this is because you kind of, you kind of associate yourself with the product, maybe, for example. So you feel comfortable with this product. You kind of start building the ecosystem, and you are becoming part of this. Because like if I want to send a file to someone, I don't even think if that person, for example, uses Android. I'm just saying straight away, let's do it through AirDrop. And then maybe the person will tell me, oh, but I have a Samsung. And I'm like, yeah, it's a fucked up. So, but this is the thing, because you start like following someone, you start buying something. Basically, you have those, you associate yourself with all this. And of course, it would be stupid to, like always telling to people that, for example, I don't know, like let's say Elon Musk is the best guy, and one day if someone says he's not, you're like, okay, he's not.
Yeah, so basically people associate it with a brand. So probably they like their brand, which is most probably not their work, because let's be honest. All of these huge billion-dollar, trillion-dollar companies have got to where they are because of stock manipulations, tax loopholes, yeah, right? So that's nothing new here, right? So they exploited the whole entire economic system to get to where they are. And still people like find ways to like defend these companies, and you cannot say anything bad about Bill Gates. Cannot Bill Gates, another guy who's like,
especially about because
because
how he cares about environment now.
All he cares about is, but the guy gave away all his money to charity, right? But somehow he's still becoming much richer.
But there is new series on Netflix about him right now.
If you look that up, I'm not an expert, but I've came across articles that saying like, Bill Gates invests a lot in charity and all those things, but somehow all that money flows back to him because they're all companies that he's somehow invested in. And I've read the other day that he's like the biggest landowner, property owner. In the US, and I don't know, it all feels very calculated, and probably there are tax incentives is involved. And
yes,
what you were saying earlier, Zoltan, is I think this concept of self-made man is completely misunderstood, and maybe doesn't even really exist. I mean, we all stand on the shoulder of giants, the people that had opportunities or opportunities in life, like all of us probably as well. I always remind myself and others how privileged we are. And, we live in a safe environment. There's no war. We get to go to school and university. We get to develop ourselves. I mean, that is already something that most people on this rock in space don't have that luxury, So, but to come back to the question, because I wanted to comment on it earlier. So why do people become such fan of the billionaires? I think it's really how we were indoctrinated with the current economic system, and that money is the KPI, the metric to measure success. So if you have a lot of money and that is your success metric, then obviously you're very successful, and that's what people look up to. Exactly. But I think, and I really hope that we can change that narrative, and that we can look at other things that make people successful. How much did you contribute to the world? How much problems did you solve? How many people did you make healthier or happier? Or how in what ways did you contribute to the knowledge in the world? I mean, those are much more interesting metrics than just the amount of money that you are worth. So
yeah, unofficially, probably Satoshi is the biggest billionaire in the world because I think it has around 12,000 bitcoins or something like that. That's worth quite a lot, and we don't know who he is or she. We don't know what's going on in there. And yeah, you touched based on this really well. Depends on what you gave back. Of course, you have to be like, I don't know. People saw images of what they could possibly become in these billionaires, and yeah, most probably if you're like, I saw many news about Teslas now. People that are mad at Elon Musk are like breaking into Teslas, and some people are changing the sign on the car so they doesn't reflect that it's a Tesla. This is
that's a lot of funny posts I saw. But how pathetic is that actually? I mean,
yeah, right?
Sorry, but why does your happiness is so much determined by these other things that are happening in the world around you? I don't know. I think as a species, for happiness and for a better world, we need to go a bit more inwards. And we live in this world where materialistic deductionist method is the norm. You know, we always look to the outside, and that's how we define ourselves. But I don't know. I've spent a lot of time looking inwards over the last 2 decades. And I think that makes you a lot more happier and healthier, both mentally and physically person, if you would just, explore that road as well, and not only look on the commerce and the outside world.
All right. So you guys, do you think that all these guys who are sticking their neck up to billionaires and fighting online for their favorite billionaire out there, do you think that that guy actually, like, let's say, like Bezos or Zuckerberg, will he like look at the comments? Oh, this guy is so cool. He defended me. Let me invite him inside. So, do you think that you can go and knock on their door and they will like don't kick you out and bring their bodyguards?
Of course not.
A rhetoric question, right?
Yeah.
The cool fact is that basically before, if you're a billionaire, it was cool to stay quiet. But now it's trendy to be famous, and like Trump, he got his dance. Elon Musk was smoking weed on the podcast, and all these billionaires, they're trying to be also as an influencers. So this is just basically to build the audience, because of course the audience is the power. But answering your question, I think it's impossible. Sometimes it happening. There are some cases, but usually it's because of the promo.
PR stunts. Yeah.
Exactly. There's a promo behind always. Like, I don't know, at the end, charity, let's go. I mean, I'm sure Bill Gates is investing in environment, like in the climate and everything, just because he wants to do that. But at the same time, there's 9 episodes Netflix series, which is top 10 in Estonia right now, where he's 10 episodes. He's talking about 2 things: environment and OpenAI, because he invested there. That's it.
Floris, what's your thing? So you are defending the guy from Patagonia because somebody's talking trash about him, and you see him on the walking to his private jet, and you say, "Man, I have to go to the bathroom." Do you think
Give
that
me
he
a
will
ride?
let you?
I don't know. A lot of things come to mind that I don't know. Maybe I should say out loud, just to put things in perspective. So Yvonne Charnay. I mean, Patagonia isn't all perfect either. You know, there was a research and investigative journalist last year, and they just have as well clothes manufactured in the same factories where all the other big brands like Zara and CNA and whatever are having their clothes produced, and where there are examples of bad labor practices and being compensated well enough or paid well enough, and you know it's a difficult world. You cannot be perfect, and even for somebody like me, I talk a lot about the whole sustainability and business ethics things, and then they say like, oh, but you take a plane, and so last year I visited 7 industry events, and I live in a place,
Out
yeah.
of which one was ours.
Yes, and I can't be there next week. I'm very, very sorry. I wish I could. But, and then they said like, oh, you're a hypocrite because you're flying to these events where you talk about sustainability. They're like, yeah, but that's just how the world currently works. If I had a magic wand, I would, although I wonder if I would make it all change. I mean, I think everything has a purpose in life, and also the bad things are there for a reason, because otherwise we wouldn't be talking about it now, and it's part of the evolution that we go through. So there are no easy answers, and I think that's always will be my role, or the role that I like to take, is just to like, okay, let's play devil's advocate. Let's look at it from a different perspective. And did you think about that? And what about this? And specifically why? Why do we think the way we do? And that's always leads to interesting conversations.
Yeah. So, guys, whoever is watching or listening to this podcast, send us a comment, because we don't know the answer why people are advocates for billionaires. Maybe you guys know, but make sure don't fight about who is best, because it's not about that. And we switch a topic now to affiliation, because I know, Floris, that you are among the old generation of affiliates, like not these new guys who are just like popping up out of nowhere and selling traffic and disappearing the next week. You are here for quite a while now, right?
I think I sit in the middle between. I don't consider myself the old school or the old group or the veterans at all. I mean, I've just joined affiliation in 2017. So
Yeah, that's
8 years
good.
ago. I mean, I talk to people, and they've been doing it for like 20 years. When when Google was just started, and that was a complete cowboy Wild West world. And then, but I did see the big change around the 2020, where pre 2020, my idea was really like, you just get a domain, put some content and some backlinks, and you can start generating revenue. And those days are pretty much over now, and from what I've seen. And but the new kind of guys, especially in our industry, the gambling, that anything goes, and there are no ethics, and they just bring you any kind of traffic, even if it's almost provable, harmful, or risk players. Yeah, I cannot really identify with that. So I look at both sides and just sit in the middle and have my idea about it, and then do my own way, which has always been very much white hat, a little bit of gray with some link building here and there, but no, white hat is to go. I think that's also what we see now with AI. It's about the value that you bring. The only thing that AI cannot do is be really creative and bring value, and this is where the human element is essential. And then you can use all the AI tools to spin it and to make your production more effective and produce more. But if you don't do original content, real research, I don't think you have any long-term success.
Yeah. So 2017 was probably when Daniel was still in high school. And so
are we going on to the roasting bandwagon?
No. But maybe one piece of advice you can give to Daniel, because Daniel is also involved in affiliation, and he likes it. Should he stay in it?
Oh, I'm not the right person to give advice on those things. You just do what you like doing. That's most important. And as long as you like doing it, make mistakes and learn from it, and then you will get somewhere, and you will have an interesting life. But do it because you like it, not because you think you can get rich quick or whatever. That's always the wrong motivation for me.
Yeah. I already finished the high school by that time, but thank you.
Right, that's good.
I mean, I just look young, I believe. And that's great.
I'm starting to feel old now. I just
yeah, it's okay. It's okay. But I mean, yeah, we do work in affiliation as well. Because I mean, my main company, we are providers, and we started affiliation not a long time ago. And I mean, honestly, what I like about affiliation, but that it really feels that there is space for like anyone. anyone can join, but the competition is so aggressive that you don't have like a chance to be somewhere in the middle. You just basically you just lose or you win and you're generating revenue, because like if you go to all your brands a couple of times with a bad quality traffic, I mean, that's it. Your name will be everywhere.
Just for refinement of the conversation, we're talking affiliation specifically in the gambling industry or affiliation in general?
Yes. No.
All right. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Those are two very different things, I think.
Yeah. I believe
Just
we're
the
talking about
industry.
gambling, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now I make it clear.
All right. So what do you think about these guys who are still in the game? Because back when I was an affiliate, I started in 2008, and
You're the veteran.
So you're the old guy.
Yeah, I'm the old guy, and I left and switched to the B2B side in 2014. They were like, back then, the big game, the names were like Ass Gamblers. But I remember, I think it was 2013 or something like that, when they got bought up by Catena Media for $16 million. I was like, wow, an affiliate website being sold for that kind of money. And back then there were only like 3 or 4 large websites that had reviews of, let's say, 500, 600 casinos, and it keeps growing. But now there's like popping up out of everywhere. So there's like directories of casino reviews, slots reviews, sports betting reviews. But I don't think that there is still space to build one. Because I don't know what can be changed. Because now we got to a certain point where all these websites are starting to look similar. They have the same type of layout, maybe some design aspects.
Same content.
Exactly. This back in the day it was different, because you had like coming up with different designs and aspects and of course the flow of the website for the visitors. Now it's the same thing. So do you think that there's still space for somebody to like start a new directory with reviews, or should they just give up and focus on something else?
Who's gonna go first?
I believe you. I believe it's more a question for you, because we are the new company who just basically doing everything what Zoltan mentioned.
Well, I've just my own affiliate is it's very niche. It's Better World Casinos, where we focus on reviewing the operators behind the brands on their corporate social responsibility, responsible gambling, and then their ethics. So it's so far I haven't come across anyone doing something similar. But besides that, I've always worked with my agency for other people's websites. So I've seen a lot from how others do it, and then focus on content marketing and trying to come up with content that actually has value. But let's maybe first shine some light on why there are now so many affiliates and constantly popping up. I think there are three main reasons come to mind. One is that it just became very easy, especially now with AI. I mean, if you wanted to start an affiliate site and just want to have your general content on there just to be understood by the algorithm that you are about casinos or sportsbook, whatever, you would need a significant amount of content, and you all have to write it by hand. Obviously, you don't have to do that now anymore. So the cost of launching a website significantly dropped. Then what I've seen in the last couple of years, a lot of operators and software providers and stuff now launching their own affiliates, which obviously makes sense. They have already they either want to protect their branded keywords, or they already have the traffic, like Yggdrasil and NetEnt and Play and Go on these websites. People look for their games. You come on your website to play for free. Obviously, you're going to convert them. That's just very logical. And thirdly, I think what we see with regulation, the more markets get regulated, they realize that untargeted advertising is really harmful. I've been focused a lot on the Netherlands, and when it was regulated there, all of a sudden on TV and on the radio and in the bus stops and billboards everywhere, and you're going to expose all these people to gambling that maybe shouldn't be exposed to the gambling product in the first place. Whereas, and this is also from a moral perspective, I always had an aversion to marketing. I never really liked. That's why I like Tesla, by the way, because they just made such an awesome product that everybody talked about it. And that's why other people wanted to buy it.
Yeah.
They never really did any marketing. So that's a great example of Tesla. And I think that's how your product should work. You should just have a great product that sells itself. Whereas marketing is always creating this need, the desire, the fear of missing out, or if you buy this product, you're finally going to be happy. I always felt like, okay, that's wrong. That's you're creating the wrong incentive. You're just selling something to want to make money and not to solve a problem. Whereas with SEO and affiliate, somebody is searching for something, has a question, and you just have to answer that question or that query as good as possible. And that's why I fell in love with SEO and content marketing, because that's just a great game to play. So why are there so many affiliate websites? I think for those reasons. And therefore it became increasingly more difficult with all the competition to stand out. So you really need to focus on what is your UX, what is your USP? Because you have a great value of content, you really research it, you really bring something new people can't find anywhere else, or you just bring a great user experience. Like the guys who bought up all the Casino EU, Slot EU, whatever, all those domains, those websites, they really played like this visual element. I don't know how successful they are, but their website looks awesome.
Yeah.
That's something new. And if you can come up with something like that, then then I think there's space. But if you're gonna be like I mentioned earlier, pre-2020, just drop some content and some links, you're gonna make money. Yeah, no, that doesn't work anymore, I think.
Daniel, what's your take on this? Because you're a newbie on it.
Honestly, I really agree with everything what Floris said, and
especially
I'll add something. Don't worry. So yeah, especially with the fact that it's easy to start. Not of course. To start buying traffic and delivering, of course, it's requiring a lot of investments. But to start building your SEO, to create affiliate website. Before as well, like if you want to kind of use the easier way to develop your website, people were using WordPress. Now there's even easier solution. You can use Wix, and now even more easier, you can use Wix AI, for example, and you just do one click and you have the whole thing, the texts. Alt tags like those H1, H2, etc. They're placed properly. Content is translated to any language you wanted. And we actually did the test because one of our websites, we have multiple websites for different regions, and one is for Germany. And we translated the whole all the game reviews from English to German with AI. And I wanted to check like with the German native speaker how realistically it looks. Is it like you can feel it's robot, it's AI, or it feels like a human-like? And when I received an email back from my colleague from Switzerland, she told me that, and she's a native speaker, she told me that basically it's perfectly translated. There is literally nothing to change, and it doesn't sound like a robot. It doesn't look like a robot. And it was with ChatGPT, but not with a free version, with the paid one. I found that even translation is a bit different when you use the free and paid version, but it's weird a bit, but it works as it is. And that means that basically you can translate your website to any languages in a second. You can translate all your SEO, meta tag, text, alt text, and everything in a couple of seconds. Of course, you need to make them work, and you need to make them like be good to run on Google, etc. But you don't need to hire people, spend money, spend time. We did it basically like 10 articles, like in 10 minutes. That's it, like minute per article. Just drop it to ChatGPT and it's there. You copy paste, it's there.
Yeah, make sure to optimize your website for AI scraping as well, because it was a funny story. Last week, we asked the participants from the WhatsApp group from our conference in Prague to share some words about themselves. And one person quickly searched for his name on ChatGPT, and the first result was Hipther, where
I saw the post.
Yeah, he was described as the...
I'm going to do it on the spot, by the way.
Yeah, so this is very interesting to see that it popped up as the first result. We optimized our websites, and I even have a disclaimer on one of our websites that some of the content is AI written. It's about 20% of the content is written by AI. And we have a disclaimer about that. And we actually gave the access to ChatGPT via robots.txt. So see, it works. It's showing up results from our website.
Have you guys been playing already with? I don't know. I'm not affiliated with them or anything, but I'm gonna name a brand. I don't know if that's cool. But they're Nimt AI. I came across them on
No,
LinkedIn.
no.
So they are specialized in tracking your how much your brand or you appear in search results. And I got early access last week, and that's pretty cool. I mean, on the free version, you don't see all the real data, but it's and that to what Daniel was saying earlier. Yeah, you can just very easily now create content in another language and just populate your site with content and stuff. But again, it comes back to: are you creating any value? Is any of the content that you're putting there in any way original? Because if it's not, it's just gonna be another page among thousands of pages that talks about whatever, which is not original. And so this is also why and this tool is pretty cool. I'm considering like taking like a trial on it, because it's really interesting to see. A lot of people are going to ditch Google and the conventional search engine. I mean, why are you going to bother yourself with all these ads? And SEOers constantly trying to, the people that I don't really call myself an SEO anymore, because I don't really work on manipulating the algorithm. I just adhere to the guidelines and make sure that it can be indexed, etc. And then that it's fast and that it's mobile and tick all the boxes. But all the value is in the content and the originality of it. And that is where the AI and the solutions are gonna make the big difference. So I noticed myself, I start searching a lot more just in ChatGPT or in Gemini, or I'm testing out several. And it's just much more convenient user experience.
Yeah, it is. Especially now with last year's 2,500 something updates from Google. It's been quite a year last year for the search engine optimization.
Yeah, especially affiliate results.
Yeah, over 2,500 of updates. It was like crazy year. I don't know how this year we're going to play out, but yeah, let's also talk, since we're talking about AI, because I don't think that in society nowadays any conversation ends up with not talking about AI. How about that DeepSeek? I know that this is probably already, we can call it old news, because it happened over 2 months ago, something like that, when they launched. And
no, they launched it. I remember, because they launched it on the Operation Day of Trump, which was a very smart move.
Yeah. It was crazy, and everybody was like jumping on DeepSeek. So cool! It creates games. But now you cannot hear about it. I have to disclose that I have not tried it. Wasn't curious. Did not have time to do it. But maybe you guys have. What's your experience, Daniel?
Yeah. So, as a professional prompter, I didn't feel any difference. But
vibe coder.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, there is a proper title for it. Vibe coder. Yes, exactly. So, I don't really feel any difference, because again, my tasks, which I'm like asking AI to help with, they're quite primitive, I believe. I'm this user who is, like checking, basically translating the text, for example, and this is my top AI request. But from what I saw, it's basically, since it's, maybe I'm wrong, but since it's like using different AI models and stuff like that, so it's better than GPT in specific parts. For example, in coding, as I understood, it's better. But for example, in don't remember actually. Maybe it was even a translation, like from language to language. It wasn't that accurate. It was too AI. So yeah. But if you remember, we had an episode with Godwin as
Yes.
who is a developer, and he basically he mentioned as well that basically yes, there is some difference in coding stuff. So basically the code you're getting from AI is it's way better developed than way better written than code by GPT.
All right, Floris, what's your take on DeepSeek?
I haven't used it because I've started with reading a lot about it and discussing it with my developer who I'm working with on creating our own content AI tool. So bit of a promo. We have a beta for Coherent.
Ah, okay, nice,
Can we?
nice,
Can
nice.
we?
Yeah, of
So-
course. What's the name?
So we call it the content assistant or the content butler, actually, because I like butler better than assistant. It has more class to it. But it's not, so it's in beta. If people want to try it out. But to come back to what I wanted to say. So DeepSeek, I started reading a lot about it, and most interesting, of course, hey, what's the word for it? The how you cannot find certain things. You cannot
Yeah.
find Tiananmen Square or those controversial Chinese topics that it won't answer it. So that's already very interesting. That already says like, okay, it has a big China stamp on it, and. But then how did they make it work? Well, they made it a lot cheaper. Yeah, they made it a lot cheaper because allegedly they just used the AI off the shelf from Gemini and OpenAI, etc., to train their own AI. I thought, okay, that's not like cheating. Then obviously you can make it cheaper. If I can buy a car and take off the chassis and put a new chassis on it and say like, look, I built a new car for only 10,000 euros. Yeah, no, you didn't really build a car. You just put the stuff. But then what they did in the back end of it. So they made like very advanced custom GPTs, They trained them for one specific thing and then they chained them together and that together they put the pieces together and then they create an output. And that's actually pretty smart. But that's basically the same that we are doing and that anybody else is doing. What you do if you're trying to create solutions with AI, or not AI, AI is way too big a term. So LLMs, large language models.
Yes.
Is that you can put in a prompt and then it will create something. Now, how did it create something? It basically doesn't understand what you're saying. It's just predicting one word, which is the most logical word to come after the next word, right? In this environment, that's what LLM does, and that with thousands of millions of invested in machine learning and just repeating over this process over and over until you get a good result. So if you cut that up in very small parts and make it do something very, very specific, and then have one create the input, the output is the input for the next one. And that's what I've understood that DeepSeek basically does. And then I thought like, yeah, we do the same. So my developer, we use 4 different models and this thing's so annoying. It's so exciting to be working on it, but it's also very annoying because it evolves so fast that by the time you're ready to launch a new version of your software, it's already outdated. But it's very hard to keep up. But you just connect one thing to the other, and then you create an output for a specific result. And they're like, okay, that's what we do, and that's fun, and it's very convenient. You could just save a lot of time on it.
Yeah, and of course, this had ripple on OpenAI because I don't know if it's connected to the name of DeepSeek or not, but I've probably seen on ChatGPT the button that says Deep Research.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah, I've been playing a lot. I've used all my credits in 2 days. I don't have a Pro account.
Was it accidentally added, or was it like something strategically like resonates with the name and everything?
Yeah.
It's also marketing for sure. I'm sure it's marketing as well.
Sure it is. I mean, I don't care. I care about the function and how good it works. And the deep search of AI is very impressive.
Let's call Kanye West and ask if it was a
maybe he was
promotion.
basically the guy who was like,
who is he?
Search. Kanye West.
All right, so there's also a nice feature we talked about this with Daniel on last year, I think, when it came out online. Sora, the video creator from ChatGPT, which is now available in more countries. Just recently, I think a couple of weeks ago. So have you guys? I know Daniel, you played around a lot with it, right?
Yeah. I'm a huge fan. I mean, it's extremely cool. Honestly, when you do that, when you write a prompt and you receive the result, it's like, no way. I mean, this is something like basically impression is exactly the same when I first time saw ChatGPT when it's like basically was released and I tried it and I was like, no way, it's like changing all my life. This is exactly the same thing for me.
Yeah, but can you create videos longer than 50 seconds?
Pay for it. 20 seconds if you have the pro version, but you have €200 a month.
But there's also the cool feature like a script thing, like you can write a proper script and get like a video from the script, so you can. It's crazy.
It is crazy, but did you get anything out there that you thought was publish worthy? Because I didn't.
Not yet. Nothing. It was more like, just to see the tool and try it. But like I can for sure tell that like 5 months, maybe like 6 months, let's say, and we will be able to generate the content which will be worth to publish, because like it's exactly the same like with which happened with ChatGPT. Like there was a lot of mistakes at the beginning and like a lot of weird answers time to time, bugs, etc. And they just released it. I mean, Sora. It's exactly the same. They are collecting our prompts, training the model to generate better based on what we're prompting, and then they will release an update. Of course. The best for paid versions, but this is how it works. They did something like they did the main part, they give it to us, we train it now.
Yeah, if it's free, you're the product, right?
Yeah, but the game changer will be when they will allow people. First of all, the content will be better, and when they will allow people to export videos like 30 seconds, and let's say on the free version, ideally, of course, maybe they can change the resolution quality for the free version, because people will start generating like proper commercial videos for their brands, and this is going to be cool.
So what tried last week, I thought, okay, I wrote a blog for my private blog, very different thing, has nothing to do with gambling, whatever. But then there was like, okay, cool, now let's take this story and see if I can turn it into a 1-2 minutes video. I thought like, okay, I have the free version, so you can make like 5-second clips. I said, no problem. I can make a script for 5-second clips and then stitch these all together and make like a 1 minute or 2 minute video out of it. That was my idea. So one of the first things I started working on, because there was in the story, it talks about learning. And so I used the metaphor of a child falling off his bike. And so I tried to make a video, just a small section of 5 seconds, or maybe, and then stitch two together. So 10 seconds of a child on a bicycle, falling off and trying to get on. Absolutely no way I managed. I had a child that somehow was on a bike. It moved very unnaturally. And then it started falling. So I said so I took a screenshot of the last frame and then used that as input for the first frame of the next one and said okay, and then elaborate on this and then make it get up or something. I spent 2 months, 3 hours, and the results were absolutely horrible. And I felt I wasted my time and my day. And I was like, okay, this was my experience with Sora. I'm going to leave any graphical stuff to my graphic designer and my video editor, who is way more better at doing these things. And he at some point will probably integrate this and use it as a tool. And then, but no, it's very far from my experience for anything useful that you could use as content for social media, your website or whatever. But
this is what you said, Floris, about your as well software. It's learning so fast that when you're ready to release it, like the next version, it's updated. And this is exactly going to be here. Exactly the same going to be here.
No, it's with the point that you made. It's very good. Like all the prompts that we do now and the results it creates is all being used to learn the feedback we gave. And so probably in half a year or a year, it will be game changing. And we will be making, you won't be paying thousands of euros or tens of thousands for a commercial of half a minute or a minute. You will just do what you're saying. And that's fun, because I like being creative, but I don't have the patience of learning the skills and doing the stuff. So that's why I am not that creative in a lot of things I do. Then I just revert to just pen and paper and sit at my desk and just draw. But all these tools make it very exciting to have like all these things that I have in my mind to be able to actually get them out there and show it to people. It would be really cool to see that evolve.
The brain implants would probably help even more. So, guys, as a final question before we close up, short answers. Do you guys say thank you to the AI tools when they generate something for you?
Be polite. Maybe you will get the pro version for free for a month.
Yeah.
No, and the reason I did, first of all, it's just how I communicate. And it's just so natural that it cost me more to try to consciously not do it than I think, like, well, I just do it. And sometimes I realize, like, okay, maybe it's weird, but then I just do it anyway. But then on the other hand, about a long time ago, maybe 3 years ago, I read the book Scary Smart from Mo Godwat. I don't know if you know him. He was the boss of Google X. And involved with the AI of Google for a long time. But anyway, he wrote a book, Scary Smart. And one of the things that he talks about in there is like, the AI is constantly learning for how we communicate with it and takes our interaction with it as an example of how humans are. And then in the scenario, if humankind is worth saving, that was a bit of the context that it was talking in, then better be kind to it because maybe it learned something from it. And I just always have that in the back of my head. It's like, well, I don't know if it's true, but maybe if it's true, it doesn't cost me anything. Yeah, just be friendly. And
Yeah. People
Daniel?
developing new tools and new fears.
Yeah. So do you say thank you?
It's not like I'm always saying thank you, but what I realized when I'm like having a lot of questions, like for example, you're asking to edit something, and then you want to include something else on top. I'm always saying like, great, thank you, or like, yes, this is amazing, but let's add. So I'm really acting like with a human,
Yeah.
And I'm not doing that for the reason. It's like just
please,
it's automatically,
Yeah, but
please, could
please.
you, yeah.
All those words that you would normally communicate. Could you do this? Would you do that? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And that's also the most interesting cases, I think, because where I use ChatGPT a lot is just for testing my own critical thinking and making it me ask questions and think about things and like play Socrates or those kind of prompts. I always love those. And then you really get into a conversation, and those I sometimes publish on my blog. I call them chats with the AI, and just really great output you get, And then, but yeah, it just feels normal. Just feels normal to communicate in that way. And then I think like, so could you, please, great, thanks. Yeah. Sure, why not?
So we are ending this episode on a positive tone. At least you guys are not rude to the AI. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in, listening to this episode, or watching it on YouTube. We will be back in 2 weeks with another interesting topic. And yeah, Daniel, why not we do an episode about this, about how people are talking with AI or developing new fears around this, and
we can make an episode with AI. Because ChatGPT can talk, so we can just put it as a third person here.
All right,
actually, before we wrap it up, let me tell you something, guys. I'm sorry, but this is a cool feature. I saw the video. There is a famous guy on TikTok. Basically, he is doing podcasts, but podcasts with ChatGPT. So he's setting like this dramatic light around, and there is a stand for the phone with a voice mode of ChatGPT, the mic, and he's talking with the ChatGPT about like serious topics like politics, climates, I don't know, wars, everything, and how AI will basically destroy humans. And I don't know, maybe he's using API of ChatGPT, because some answers are like, I don't think ChatGPT will really answer like this on some of them, because it feels like there is no restrictions,
Custom GPTs.
Yeah. But it's very cool. So yeah, maybe we can make an.
We will do
it.
Like we had an episode about how to use virtual reality, where we were broadcasting from virtual reality. Remember that? So yeah, we definitely planned this for April. So guys, thank you so much. Stay tuned. The next episode is going to be with an AI. Bye-bye.
That's a wrap for this episode of Beyond the Huddle. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the conversation, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Amazon Music. More insights, expert guests, and deep dives into the latest trends in iGaming, tech, and beyond are coming soon. Stay curious, stay connected, and see you in the next one.